Yes, it even destroys sexually transmitted diseases. AIDS is an approved patent claim, anthrax, bubonic plague, SARS. As you can see, the list goes on and on and on and includes, some of the most nasty pathogens and some of the most nasty diseases in the world today. Silver Sol improves disease outcomes and reduces antibiotic resistance. What you have here is a picture of a medical study. This is published in a peer-reviewed medical journal. Its title is Bactericidal Activity of Combinations of Silver Water Dispersion with 19 Antibiotics Against 7 Microbial Strains. What that means is silver was put in combination with different antibiotics, and it was found to be as much as 10 times greater at killing nasty pathogens, which means you can combine silver with antibiotics. And by the way, silver doesn't cause the problem that antibiotics causes, meaning it doesn't cause the germs to get stronger. Now, according to this medical journal, Current Science, Silver Sol has no bacterial resistance. Silver Sol was tested against 7 bacteria, meaning different types of bacteria, in combination with 19 antibiotics, and that was across all different classes of antibiotics. Quote, out of 96 tests, 5 were synergistic, 89 were additive. In the synergistic test, the antibiotic was made 10 times more effective at killing bacteria because the silver killed the residual bacteria that the antibiotic couldn't. This is a visual image of an apple. It was sliced in half by myself and left out to just see what would happen. But the one on the right side was sprayed with silver. The apple half on the left received no silver. And as you can see, the side that received no silver is undergoing bacterial and fungal breakdown much more rapidly than that with silver on the right. A good way to recognize the preventive action of silver. This is a photograph of an actual scientific study that's titled Silver Sol and the Successful Treatment of Hospital-Acquired MRSA in Human Subjects with Serious Ongoing Infections. It basically demonstrates that, in fact, the Silver Sol destroys even the nastiest MRSA infection in the hospital, and it does so in a very reasonable amount of time at the cheapest price possible. This is a photograph of another study, and it documents that patients who stayed in a geriatric or nursing home care actually got well much faster even than when they were using antibiotics and surgical treatments. This is important because it saves the hospitals an enormous amount of money. This is a photograph summarizing how much can be saved at a hospital simply by adding Silver Sol gel to the use in their patients that sleep in the beds. Now, these elderly patients get bed sores, they get infected, and they get infections that last years. What you can see here is on the right-hand column the expected savings of $18 per day, and that is a daily cost per wound treatment. But look at this. Over the course of 1 year, the average patient who had an infection saved $205,588 when they used the Silver Sol gel. And this is important because you're going to find not only will it save money in hospitals, it'll save you money at home. In the scientific study, it reports the following. It is evident from the results that the Silver Sol will reduce the occurrence of pressure sores, including MRSA, by 40%. Wounds heal significantly faster due to less infection, inflammation, and the activation of stem cells. The cost of treatment is significantly lower, and the duration of treatment in the hospital are significantly reduced. Silver Sol is a less expensive and more effective treatment that results in better healing rates, less scarring, and improved outcomes when compared to national averages found in nursing homes. This is published from the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. What this supports is the claim that this is more beneficial than other silvers, and it is safer, and it does not cause problems with drug interactions. This is a study that was published in a medical journal. The effect of prophylactic treatment with Silver Sol solutions on an avian influenza A, or the H5N1 virus infection in mice. What that means is the bird flu, which is so nasty they were afraid half the world was going to die from it, has been studied, and Silver Sol destroys the virus. What that means is you can take it daily and prevent the virus from getting activity against you. What that means is in a mice study, these animals were given Silver Sol twice a day, just like humans would take and swallow the liquid, 2 teaspoons twice a day. The mice were then infected with the fatal bird flu. Those that survived demonstrated that silver prevented them from getting the flu. This is what happened. In fact, a 100% increase in the ability of mice to survive an H5N1 avian or bird influenza challenge resulted. That is remarkable. That means if you're taking Silver Sol every single day, twice a day, 2 teaspoons, you're going to have a significant ability to prevent even some of the nastiest epidemics that may surround us in the future. This is a photograph of a before and after toenail fungus problem. Silver Sol was used to soak down in and underneath the toenail on the left. As you can see, there's a dark toenail fungus that's gotten under the nail. Within 30 minutes, you can see on the right, it's destroyed the dark fungus. And what happens is wherever the liquid can get in touch with that fungus and stay in touch with it for 6 minutes, it's going to kill it. So we soak it for about 30 minutes twice a week until the toenail grows out. And in this fashion, it demonstrates killing of fungus. This is a photograph of a block of cheese that's been sliced in half. The upper half was sprayed with liquid Silver Sol. The bottom half was not. As you can see, the fungus continued to grow at a much accelerated rate, while there was no fungus growing on the cheese above. Simply put, Silver Sol prevents the growth of fungus. This is 3 photographs taken at the Utah Water Quality Laboratory. On the left, you've got raw river water that was poured into this petri dish. The accounting here is of bacteria. TNTC stands for too numerous to count, and you can look in that petri dish and you can see that under a microscope there will be too many bacteria to count. And the coliform, which is a very dangerous kind of bacteria, had a count of 36. Then the water was filtered, with the filters that you use reverse osmosis, and you pump it through a carbon filter and a ceramic filter. Well, guess what? There was still too numerous to count on the bacteria count. While coliform was reduced by about half, it still had too numerous bacteria to even count. Then we move to the third petri dish on the right. This contains silver with the water. So you've got raw river water. We put a few drops of silver into it, and the coliform count is 0. The bacteria is 0, demonstrating from the Utah Quality Water Laboratory that, in fact, Silver Sol destroys the bacteria and purifies the water. Now, I've talked about healing. I've talked about fungus and bacteria and viruses. I know there's some really dramatic healings, but you must realize most people are going to use it on simple cuts and scrapes and bug bites and little things like that. So let me show you what you can expect with a simple blister. This is a wound healing system. So we're going to look at it every single day until it heals. Now, a blister like this that's been torn off usually takes about as long as 2 weeks and as little as 10 days to heal. Let's take a look at what happens with silver on the next slide. This is day 2. As you can see, the silver has been applied twice a day, and the edges that were irregular and kind of flaky aren't nearly so much, but more importantly, there's no infection and little inflammation. This is day 3. You can see that because of the use of the hand had continued to be normal, they've worn a crease in the middle of this blister, but there still is no infection, low inflammation, and the edges of the wound are healing very nicely. Day 4, we tried to get as close as possible, and there's little or no infection at all. It's healing very nicely. It's red still, but it is not infected, and that's the important thing. Day 5, you can see this wound is healed. It is closed up completely. It is red, but it is not inflamed. It was not infected, and it healed probably twice as fast as normal because no infection, little inflammation, and stem cell activity helps put a wound back together quicker. In summary, here's the before photo of that blister, and here's the after. In just 5 days, you can see that this is healing very nicely, but most importantly, without infection. This is a very gruesome burn, but you must know that silver is a very significant treatment for all burns, sunburns, or even in this case, the nastiest burn that you could probably give to an 88-year-old woman. She couldn't even get skin grafts. It's burnt through her skin, through her fats, down into the muscles. But with silver sol, taken as a gel and sprayed through a spray bottle onto the wound so it didn't irritate the healing process, it just activated stem cells. She healed in a dramatic fashion, you'll see in the next slide. This is 65 days after. This is the same woman. You can see red spots. You can see that there is no striations, no scarring, no keloiding, no dangerously horrible-looking infections. And what happened here? Because there was no infection, because Silver Sol controlled it, the wound healed nicely. And it even healed in a way that stem cells were activated and pulled the wound together without major scarring. In summary, you've got burns that heal dramatically better with less scarring, and that goes for scalding burns or the small burns you might get from overuse with a shovel or a rake, or you're on a stove or anywhere at all. Any kind of burn, including radiation burns from chemotherapy, can be treated simply by putting the gel topically on the wound and beyond its margins just a little bit. I'm going to go through step by step what happens in an injury. This is not a burn, but it's an impact injury from an accident. This is 1 hour after the accident happened and 1 minute after the last suture was placed. This is a bad injury because it's not straight and the edges aren't clean.